ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Monday night, 8 p.m. The Online Darts Live Lounge returns. And here we are, gentlemen. It's been a long week. It's been a tiring week, but it's been a damn good one as well. How are we?
And it's only Monday. Woohoo!
Oh.
How are we doing?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
It's been a busy one. Plenty going on as always. We only saw each other not so long ago, a few hours ago. But look, time flies when you're having fun, boys.
That's what you call
it. So was it fun? No, I'm joking. Good week. Yeah, good week. Good weekend spent with you to either side of me. One of you snores an awful lot more than the other one.
I don't know. I snore like fuck as well, but I have my own room.
No one's worse. I'm telling you, this side, no one's worse.
I don't know. I'm bad.
Nope. But yeah, all round good weekend, all round good week, and we will get into it, but later on. But not a bad start today as well. Well done, gents.
No, it's all good. I'm just sharing some links on social at the same time. But welcome one and all in the chat room. Everyone in nice and early. Rob, how we doing? David, evening all. Sam, Malachi, Stephen, Kieran, Chris, Matthew, Love Darts is back. Wim, how we doing? Stephen, ABM, how we doing? Yeah, Gary Anderson, 41 180s today, and he didn't win the tournament, gents. That's just fucking bonkers.
Trebles for show.
To be
I'm
fair,
not saying what he said, but he didn't say that once all weekend, so he's let us down, hasn't he? He's let the side down.
Yeah, we'll come on to today's Pro Tour in a little bit. Where would you like to start today, boys?
Question time, and then we can go to bed.
Yeah, we are all a bit tired. We're not going to lie, but we are soldiering on. Yeah, look, should we start with the seniors?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
There is a new champion.
Spoiler alert.
I spit everywhere. If you haven't seen it, you live under a rock. But the trophy does stay in Scotland, gents. Absolutely superb weekend of seniors darts. First of all, before we go into the actual tournament, what was your highlight?
Banging a 180 in practice, thanks.
Doesn't count if it's in practice. A certain game in the last 32 was my highlight, and I'm sure we'll touch on to them games in a minute, but a certain game in the last 32 delivered on all fronts.
Yeah, no, I thought the tournament was superb. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see a lot on Thursday because I was in Glasgow, but overall, I thought it was another huge success.
I think it absolutely sums up this show that the one time he qualifies for a TV event, and I don't sit here and tell you how good Colin McGarry is and how much of a threat he is, he goes and makes the final. Yeah. Other than that, really good weekend again. The venue's just special, isn't it? Like, we're quite privileged to do what we do and to sit in the position that we do. And obviously, compared to year one, we're in a much better position than where we sat at that point. But in terms of oppression, to be able to just sit in the arena where we do and take in the atmosphere, watch the games live, and be able to get what we need to do done, it's quite. I love it. There's nowhere better for me to watch that.
Yeah, no, look, it is a very unique atmosphere. And when you look, people that haven't been to the Tavern before, the fact that literally the fans are literally centimetres from the stage is quite incredible.
Yeah, it's not It's also not a huge stage, which at times I know that mentioned, but that's always been the case. The fans are also past the players as well as being really close to them. It's very, very unique with a balcony as well, just beyond the front. And I think the one night where we really experienced what the Certis Tavern crowd was about was that Friday night. It was just very, very good. If I'm being honest, as we've talked about it with other tournaments, PDC tournaments, from a crowd perspective, generally very good. However, there was moments. But overall, it's another world championship that has run fairly successful.
Yeah, I think so. Look, overall, I thought it was good. I thought it was a decent tournament. It gets better and better. There's always aspects of stuff that can be improved on, and I think the guys would admit that. But overall, it ticks a lot of boxes for dart fans.
Yeah, it just needs more dart fans now, doesn't it? That's the next step, isn't it? It needs more people there for all of the sessions to keep that atmosphere as good as it was on the Friday and Saturday. And it needs people to get behind the project and show there's a demand for it and desire for it so that it can continue to grow in terms of its production and quality.
Yeah,
I also... Go on,
boys.
go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, and that's the one thing that it adds, is we spend a lot of time predicting as well as reviewing and analysing what's happening in names, but there is no way that anyone that I've seen on socials between the three of us had that semi-final lineup. I know, Jack, you've alluded to having building time up many a times and not doing it this time, and then he's delivered. Yes, Hendo was favourite, but Colin wasn't going in. Jim Lund, we've seen some fantastic stuff on the floor, and then Lisa Ashton going on the run and performance she did. I think and I know we'll go through the tournaments and rounds, but if you look at that semi-final as a 4, there is no one that predicted that 4. You may have had one as your outsider or, fancied Hendo to go deep, but generally as a 4, that was not picked, and that shows that the quality in the field, probably even looking at quarterfinals as well, you can do that.
Yeah, and I hate to throw somebody under the bus, but he insisted last week there was only really 3 people that could win it, and it wasn't wide open at all.
And the winner came from one of those 3 or 4.
Yeah, there were 3 in that final 4 weren't in your 4, so that was the point. It was wide open until that.
I still don't think it was, and I don't mean this horribly. And he might fucking have a go at me for saying it, but I don't care. And I said it before the final was even started. Going into that final, there was no way Colin McGarry could win that final, and I don't mean that horribly because he's not a good player. But in terms of levels and what we saw from Hendo, there was just no way he could win it.
I disagree. I don't think the best of Hendo all weekend. And that's the point. He's got there and got it done in a fashion that Collins run out of steam at that point. But Collins had chances in that final. He didn't believe me when I told him that. But if he goes back and watches that, there is an awful lot of missed darts at double in that final. Tired darts at double. Lack of belief, perhaps a little bit. But
that's part of the reason why he couldn't win it.
Solid level from Hendo. But if the Colin that had turned up in the rest of the matches turns up in that final, great chance.
I disagree. I completely disagree.
Gentlemen, are we not doing this a bit backwards? We need to start early on before we delve too much into that final.
Chris, on the floor, I agree. I think Colin's an unbelievable player on the floor. I just don't think he's a very good TV player. And I'm not going to hide behind what I've said to you guys off camera. I'll stand by it. But on the floor, I think he's incredible. But I just don't think he's that good a TV player. But we'll go back to what we were getting onto about it growing and whatever. And I think Chris said about the audio quality and stuff like that. Look, I don't mind saying it because I don't work directly for the seniors, but that comes down to cost. The production costs to do a TV event are astronomical. Like I've seen what the costs are And to go to the next level, you're talking about a lot of money extra. So to start with, the product needs to generate that money.
Yeah.
Yes, look, could it be better? Look, absolutely, it could. But for what it is, it's good.
Yeah, look, there are things we worked on, clearly, like quality of equipment and clean and how it works and that sort of thing. But yeah, there is a broadcast. You get it out. It is televised. Like it's baby steps, isn't it? You've got to build reach of a product to build up the bigger sponsors, more ticket sales, a broadcast partnership deal with a channel that is proud to have it and that sort of thing. And it goes both ways. But somebody has to fund those initial production costs and not just pluck them out of thin air.
Yeah, exactly. They are like astronomical, the production costs. And we saw that at Lakeside, their production, and this isn't a dig, by the way, before anyone says it, but we saw the cost of the early production, what that was with fixed cameras and everything like that. And look, the seniors, okay, yeah, it could be better, but we've got a roaming camera. We've got more camera options and stuff like that. So just in terms of a costing, I think it's good for what we have to pay.
Yeah.
Is the thing. But
and
right, let's
comes across. Just some people in the chat would have been there. A lot of you won't, but actually, I guess at that point that it reflects not badly, but it doesn't quite show off just how great it is to be there in a venue. And that's not with a seniors hat on. That's, as a fan, that's a venue and environment I'd like to be in. The music, the songs are all decent, like the screens you can see rolling, the stage introductions, how close you are to the players, all of that isn't probably truly reflected in the broadcast at the moment, which might be a reason that ticket sales aren't selling out every single session sort of thing, but it will build. It has to build.
Yeah,
that's the key, and I think that's what we've spoke about with WDF. It's probably the closest comparison. It wouldn't be fair to compare this to PDC. So as a comparison or looking at organisations, that's where I think as a free we're fair in the sense of it's about building. That is the essential. From year 1 to year 3 from production, if we think back to the first day, to where we are today, there is that improvement. But yeah, like all three of us have said at different times, there is still growth and a lot of growth that is available if pushed for that route. So there's certainly the opportunity for it to get bigger and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go through every single game, because that'll take too long, what was your standout couple of ties from the first round?
Well, the one that stands out is for me in that last 32, like I said, was just an unbelievable game between Kevin Painter and Jim McEwen. With Jim averaging, I know, Dob, you're definitely well up on the facts better than I am, but averaging around 108 after 2 sets.
9.7.
There with those, about 8 points more, 7 points more than what the TV averages. We're marking around with pens and papers, looking at all sorts of figures, what the possibility is. And then, let's be honest, yes, Painter was playing well, but what Painter did was produce an unbelievable 140 that changed the game. That was the moment where it's all changed. The atmosphere changed, the persona of Kevin Painter changed. The one thing that probably didn't, even though he finished on a 98 average after averaging so good, the performance of Jim didn't drop too much. Jim still played very, very well throughout that game, and averaged one of the best averages we've seen at the World Championships. The best losing average we saw, or the best average we saw all weekend. But Kevin Painter found what he's found for years and years in his career, just moments of utter brilliance. And I've never seen a Kevin Painter on such a high. The emotion, he was back in the venue on Friday. It seemed like every time I turned around, he was telling people about the 140. It was one of them moments. It just deserves to be. It was a standout from what was a very, very good and a very open sort of round one, where we looked at a lot of these ties between us, and I think we said quite a few to go 3-0, and we only had one in that last 32. Just showed that the last game was
32, so we went inside, and we didn't think that was going to be that one-sided either. John Parton,
that was
you score.
That was one of them that we spoke about and sort of had it a bit closer, especially how John Parts performed and his Dublin's been in some of these senior events. That wasn't one that we had, though, in that way. And then so many 3-1s, 3-2s, comebacks. It was just a very, very good general first round. But the Painted Mattoon one stands out for me, where there is a few more in there.
For you, Gob?
Well, see, that's right in contention. I thought Dubbridge-Durrant was really good, actually. Dubbridge has been excellent on the floor events. The first player to hit a 9 in team's history was at Hugh Scoren, playing really well. That was a rematch of the year before. I thought Glenn showed a steeliness that we saw glimpses of at the Moda Super Series when he played a Group B campaign a few weeks ago. I think Glenn just needs a bit of belief now. Look, the action is not perfect. I don't think he's going to go back to that. But in those key and crucial moments at the Super Series, it went the wrong way for him. He started to crumble a little bit. He started to overthink it. He started to chase and just wanted to get over the line. But actually, I thought he did a good job there of pushing Mark and staying calm and taking the chances that Dubbridge gave him. I think Dubbridge perhaps might have been a little bit too relaxed about that one. But it was good to see Glenn back chucking. It's nowhere near his best, but it was competitive, and that was a good sign. And then the other one that I really liked, where's it gone? I thought the Canadians gave us a great game, despite the fact it was 3-1. Jim Long, David Cameron. You can see the fact that they're making it and mixing it with PDC boys once or twice a year sort of thing, that they're playing on the CDC, the quality that brings. I thought that was a really good game. It was a shame, actually, that they played each other in the first round. Because they're probably going to do that at least another 4 or 5 times this year over in the States. But, yeah, that was a decent scrap between those two.
Yeah, Chris does averaged 79.36. Look, I didn't see the Thursday, but the one that stands out for me, the game turned on one moment, and then after that was just brilliant, was Mace in that first round against Daryl Fitton, because he was right up against it, a set down and legs down, and that 92 double 18 completely spun it. And then the next 2 sets, Mace was absolutely outstanding for me.
Yeah, it was weird because at times I was watching Chris Mace. His numbers for me never reflected his performance, and that worked both ways. There was times I was watching it, and I think throughout the weekend, probably the opening parts of this day, he wasn't performing to the levels, but his numbers were a lot higher than that. And then at other times, I've seen him like mid to late 80s, and I thought he was a lot better. But this one, and that's then reflected in him playing well in certain sets. And this was shown in that fit and win. There was the turning point, and then it was just. And then I use the word quite a lot, but I think we see it more with the seniors. A certain persona changes on stage, and that was with Chris Mason. As soon as that check out went, it was very much, now it's my game. Now, if I play well, there's only one winner. And I think it continued that through that game, and it became one-sided in a game that wasn't early on.
Yeah, he had a certain swagger around him. Before we dissect even more, massive shout out to Lisa Ashton, because we saw her play at Lakeside and there were concerns, but she's rocked up here at the Tavern, and we've seen moments of the old Lisa that smiles back. And speaking to her media afterwards, that she openly admitted that Lakeside came too soon for her, but now she feels comfortable again. And we saw some signs of that this weekend. Their run to the semi-final was just incredible.
And she's played a lot of darts of late to get herself back into that position. Like I said, it did come a bit too soon. We saw her play in the ADC LP Multi-Secting Women's Series finals in Portsmouth not long after the surgery, then built up to the Lakeside, now finds herself here. she's fantastic, and we've always known she's fantastic, and she's got the ability, because of the pace she plays at, the finishing and the scoring, she can just take legs and sets away from people, and I feel like that's what she did this weekend. If she gets on that little bit wrong, the set play is brilliant for her in this format. She doesn't have to be on it 100% from the word go to the end. She just has to produce those moments, and she can and does produce those moments. She was brilliant throughout the weekend, like you said. She looked in great shape. She played beautifully. The action looks fine. She never really complained about her elbow once at all. And she's got a big year ahead of her, because for the last 18 months or so, the women's game has been all about Fallon and Bo. And Lisa might chuck a spanner straight back in the works there.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite possibly. We'll touch on Phill in a minute, Chris. But look, going through the card here almost, that on Sunday, the real John Henderson turned up. Averages of 90, 92 in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, did the damage against Andy Hammer and Jim Long before going in to that final. And it's almost as if he grew in confidence, because you could physically see a lot of nerves in Henderson's game early on in the tournament, but the way he came through, especially the early part of Sunday, he was the class act.
Yeah, the thing is, he's made a career, and a very, very successful career in darts, going into the majority, if not all, of tournaments being an underdog. He's come to the seniors, and he's come in as favourites for the 2 TV tournaments he's played in. He openly admitted after the first one, we've spoke to him numerous times, he's been on floor events and won one of them. We had a chat with him, and straight away his first sort of doto about the seniors is, I don't like being favourite, but does he's playing so well, even though he's lost his sort. Coming into this weekend, it was very much a danger. And if we're being quite frank about his performances, up until Sunday, yes, he was favourite going into Sunday, as he was tournament favourite anyway, but there wasn't as many people saying he wins it today, because of probably the run he had, obviously coming into Hamilton, who played well the previous day. We knew that Jim Lund was in some form. To put in the manner of the performances he did in the quarterfinals and semi-finals, I see what you were saying early on, Phill, about Colin not being a TV player. I gave him more of a chance. However, because of how Hendo performed quarterfinals and semi-finals, it was all around the start. And the fact that Hendo got a good start, that confidence just continued to grow on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And look, the way he struggled on tops early on, but when he starts finding that, you know you've got problems, because it's just a machine.
They've all got something about their game, as they wouldn't have been there at some point in their career, would they? But he put it together more frequently than anybody else when it mattered. He got through tense early couple of days, like Lee said. It took him a while to get used to the temperature, the lights, and be up on that stage, because the ceiling is not very high up, which is complete contrast to what he would have been used to. Even if you're playing Reds on stage 2 at Minehead, you still got more room and space to move about. And John's a big guy. He's a lot closer to those lights than a lot of other people as well. So look, it took him a while to get settled up there. Once he finally did, he showed his class. And now that he's got his foot in the door and 1-1, we could see a Leonard Gates style run from him, a Robert Thornton style run in year 1. Like, it's up to people now to go and beat John Henderson, and he's going to take some beating.
And I would also add to that, Dob, that the 2 standout names probably from this weekend, if you're looking back in months' time, are going to be John Henderson and Lisa Ashton. The run that Lisa's made, John going on to lift the title. And the key word that stands out for both of those, for me, is composure. Because Henderson's a rhythm player, obviously, with a rock. Lisa Ashton is very, very quick. But at times this weekend, where you don't see very often, Henderson took a step back, even with his third dart. Lisa Ashton, if she wasn't comfortable, did the same, or approached the board, wasn't in the right position and took that time. Yes, it didn't happen too many times, but at times they took that moment to compose themselves, and it paid dividends in the end, especially for John.
Yeah, completely. Let's hear from John a second, and then we'll discuss some more. I loaded it up. Let's play the... Why? Oh, there it is.
Oh, I'm absolutely buzzing. I never thought I'd have this feeling in darts again. When I won the World Cup with Peter, I thought that was it for me, and then losing my tour card and getting the opportunity to play in this is right up there with it. Honestly, it means a hell of a lot to me. God almighty, so I'm tired now. But no, to win that, honestly, absolutely over the moon.
You spoke about being it right up there. Obviously, winning the World Cup for Scotland is one thing, it's playing for your country, but you're part of a team. But to do this for yourself must mean so much. Oh, definitely. It was, as I say, it was a great accolade to win that World Cup with Peter, but to win this on my own doing, it was fantastic. And I feel as though I haven't played my A game, but I did the right things at the right time, and I think that's the only reason why I've won this. And I just kept on going, kept on pushing them, and thank God.
The smile says it all.
I'm just thinking he's listened to way too many winners' interviews. I did the right thing at the right time. It's sort of the Bindo approach of taking it off if someone says it on Martin. That's why I was laughing at the line. But what a die.
The one potential negative from a senior's point of view with Hendo winning it, unlike last year's champion Robert Thornton, made no qualms. I'm coming back to defend this. Hendo again was adamant that I don't want to come back and defend this next year. And this isn't just for the seniors. This is in general for anything. I don't think it's a particularly good look for any tournament, regardless whether it's darts or whatever, if the defending champion isn't there to defend their crown the next year. But he's adamant he wants to be back on that tour.
He might well be, but Thornton was adamant year one that he wants to be back on that tour, and he came straight back to defend that trophy year two. So, look, a year is a long, long time. It's been 2 years since Hendo had his tour card. There is a lot of money to be won on the World Seniors Darts Tour, especially now that next year's is worth £50,000 to the winner. Right?
It's not about the money for Hendo.
Great chance to go and win it. No, it might not be. It might be about the lifestyle and travelling and going and proving that he's still at that level. But actually, when it comes down to it, when you are at Hendo's age, comfortable, fine, but the chance to win major titles on TV for a serious amount of money, he's in a great position where he is. If he goes and gets the tour card back, fine, brilliant. He's still young enough. He's still clearly got plenty in the tank. We've seen him go from Q School straight to Portsmouth and whatever else, right? He's clearly got the stamina to go and compete on the grueling PDC tour that the likes of Steve Beaton are deciding that they haven't got anymore. And actually, he might rock up there in a year and decide, well, I don't have that in me anymore. But look, it can't be helped. The PDC are still the epitome of darts at the moment, and that is where players aspire to be. But if he's not, nobody's going to turn him down and say, oh, no, you didn't want to be here, so you're not going to be there. He'll be there as defending champ.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that, but that's me, not just the seniors in general. I just don't think it's a good look if any defending champion isn't there to defend their title in whatever sport, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, in an ideal world, it would be for the world seniors. In an ideal world, not for John, he'd be back there in 12 months' time defending that title. However, there is obviously a certain Steve Beaton who was there the weekend. There is other names who are, if Endo is to be a tour card holder, there's probably a few who are in that plus 50 mark that are going to switch round. Ideally, you'd like to say your reigning world champion would always be there to defend. The other part of Hendo winning, the motivation for Robert Thornton in 12 months' time was probably lifted that little bit more. Yes, they are very good friends. Robert was there supporting him through the quarterfinals, I want to say. But I think this spurs everyone on a little bit more, that the quality that Hendo has shown. And it's shown the players who are 32 down, let's say, in the PDC, what an opportunity there is elsewhere. What Hendo's done is won 30,000, but as you've alluded to, Jack, next year is an extra 20,000 more, and people will fancy their chances going at that field.
Yeah, I've not even got to wait for that response, by the way. Thornton literally told me in the lobby on Sunday when he popped in to watch the quarterfinal, I'm having the next one. He's ready to go for Blackpool already. He was going straight down to Portsmouth for this week's double trouble in the Motor Super Series, but he's like, I want the next one. I'm going to go win it. I want that. Like, he's already fired up and ready to go. So Thornton, we'll get onto his game shortly, knows that he's let one go there against Andy in the last 16, I think is the fairest way to say it. He's not happy with it, and he's going to go and fight back. But the fact that it's Henderson, of all people, that has won the trophy, one, I'd be delighted for him, but two, that will be the motivation to go, actually, pal, you've kept it in Scotland for now, but I'm having it back.
Chris, Lakeside's a prime example of that. We can't. The rule changed. It's not the seniors thing. It's a PDC thing. If Hendo gets his card, he's not allowed to play. Is the one that
from a promotional aspect as well? It's like, come win. You're still good enough. Our world champion is now good enough to go and be a PDC tour card holder again. There's ways to spin it.
Evening, Paddy. We have to discuss Phill before we touch on the changes for next year's seniors. Phill Taylor's last ever World Championship ended in massive disappointment. And where are we with Phill at the moment? Because it's his swan song, it's his farewell year. But right now, should he just go now? Because I said this to you on the Pro Tour stream, God, but I never thought I'd see the day when the players are saying, I want to play Phill Taylor, not because I'm playing Phill, because right now they see him as cannon fodder and the easiest opportunity to get to the next round.
And they're probably about right. The problem is that even after the announcement we're going to talk through soon, the initial response from a lot of the tour players and some around it was good. It needs to make that transition where this is competitive. It's not invites and an exhibition or however you want to look at it. But Phill has been a massive part of why the Seniors Darts Tour has been able to get off the ground. He is the big name, the recognisable one, and the one that the broadcasters, production companies and the like so far have wanted to see. The disappointing thing is that he's got this final year now. He's going to be in every event, and people are still going to want to see Phill play, but they want to see Phill play somewhere a bit above the level that he's produced this weekend. And that's on Phill, ultimately. He's been given the opportunity and the platform. He didn't have to come out of retirement, no, but he chose to. He chose to be a part of this product and project for a couple of years now, and he's made promises in the last couple of years that he put the effort in and made 2 finals in the first year. I don't want to be beaten in the final. I don't want this. I don't want that. I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep practicing. Saw him Wednesday afternoon at the venue. Phill, you've been practicing? Not as much as I should have been. I can't do it like I used
to. The question of what next for sort of Phill is on Phill. Yes, he can put in the hours of practice. I know we said there to you, Jack, he probably can't do as much. But if Phill practices and puts the time in, there is still a certain level, a very, very competitive, getting to finals level that Phill can achieve. Would he be able to beat John Henderson at his best? And we didn't see his best this weekend. That's probably a no. However, what Phill can do if he puts time into it is certainly be competitive and go deep into these tournaments. However, what he should do, after we come off stage on Friday, my first thought was, if that's what we're going to see, hopefully this is the last time we see him, because it's a discredit to himself, is my thought on it, because he doesn't want to turn up to another free TV event and be... The average doesn't really matter, but the performance, the darts, some of them his misses are so far away. It's just not the Phill Taylor that we're all used to knowing, loving, watching, wanting to be like. So for me, it's more around what Phill wants to do, because the calendar now is quite harsh in the sense of we've just had a World Championship. When I say harsh, I mean harsh for Phill, is that we've just had a World Championship, but in 5 weeks is our next TV event. Phil's got to put time in then, if he doesn't want to have that feeling then, because it just doesn't feel right if he leaves the stage in November and he's had a year how it started. So it's all down to Phill what he wants to do. But hopefully he has that drive to perform, or he made another decision. I don't think he would, but that's the alternative.
I guess the hope is that whilst it is harsh, he has got 5 weeks now, and these are pretty close together. So if you're going to put some time in the 5 weeks. Go to Blackpool, which is his spiritual home or whatever. He absolutely loves it in Blackpool. You think of many World Match Play titles, he's won up there. And then he's got the best part of 5-6 months off. The second half of the TV events this year are October, November, because there's the Olympics, because there's the Euros on. So he's got a break. You can be playing consistently through that. You can play a little bit and build up so that you're ready for those two. He has to put the 6 weeks work in before those two and then keep it ticking over for those two. Like, he's got a 5-week period now where two sessions a week. Just get used to it, because I said this to Phill earlier. He's never going to change the shape of his barrel right now. He's too entrusted with that shape and that dart. But the margin for error with Phill Taylor's darts when you throw them is so small, which means you have to be so on it. And he's just not. It's why his misses look so big. Because if he's off by that much, if he's off as much as I am with that, he's off by that. They just go all over the place.
Yeah, Chris, the average was 74.53. Evening, Mace. Hope you are good, mate. Good to see you the weekend. So, moving on. The tour changes. Going to, you can explain it better, Gob. I've got a couple of double-edged sword questions for you, which will be interesting in a minute. But the big changes for the seniors in terms of ranking and qualification.
In terms of the 2025 World Championship, nothing's been announced for the rest of the season. But next year, they are going to... Well, we're moving to a 24-man tournament, and the qualifying criteria has changed. For the last couple of years, it's been heavily reliant on invitations. As of next year, the current money list, which is used as the qualification route, as of today, has become the official World Seniors Darts official ranking list. In doing so, a lot more of the floor events now carry bigger prize monies or deeper prize monies, so that players are rewarded for wherever they get to throughout the tournament. The top 12 players on that list at the end of November will qualify for the World Seniors Darts Championship in 2025. November is the final event of the season on the floor. Following that, we're creating a brand new 1-year order of merit list. Now, that is based off the points earned through the Open Series event sponsored by LP Metal Detecting and Target. We've already had 9 of those this season. They took place on the qualifying weekends, the Friday night, the Saturday, and the Sunday. And I think there's still at least 15 more to come. I think it might be a lot more than that, to be honest. I've not done the exact count. Players receive a point per win for each match they win beyond the last 64, or a full round of fixtures in that one. The top 4 names on that 1-year list, so that will run from January to November, will then join the 12 players at the World Seniors Darts Championship. So that's 16 of the players. World Seniors will then run 3 qualifiers over 3 weekends in Reading next year once again. Those 3 qualifier winners will join 16 already announced, so that's 19. There's a new link up with the ADC, so you don't necessarily have to be a World Seniors Darts Tour member to book your spot there, but there's a hope that players will now start moving between both organisations. ADC are going to run their own qualifier as well. Obviously, Tour Card members are more than welcome to go and play in that, and ADC members are more than welcome to sign up to the World Seniors Darts Tour. But one qualifier will be held on behalf of the ADC for a spot. And then they have retained 4 invitational spots for players that perhaps are leaving the PDC tour next year. I think you can all guess that Steve Beater might well be one of those after he announced live on TV that he'd be part of the seniors tour the following year, and a couple of others. If there's not 4 players leaving the PDC ranks, then you might see a few more decorated players that perhaps have busy work schedules or can't commit for one reason or another, or those ticket sellers perhaps that people online want to see that have got big fan followings. There is still 4 invitations there. So we've moved away from a heavily reliant invitation model to 20 out of the 24 spots being earned. Whilst fans might be slightly disappointed that some legends now aren't going to get those invitations. The move is in anticipation that those guys go out to the tour and it becomes one big tour. There's been a lot of talk from members, players, etc., even fans, that it feels like two slightly separate tours, those that get the invitations and those that turn up to the floor events, put the effort in, and now there's a chance for those to be more rewarded.
Yeah, no, look, I like the move. I genuinely do. But here's the question I want to ask. That by doing this, and I agree with it, by the way, but I'm playing devil's advocate like always, that by doing this, and for argument's sake, 4 big names drop off the tour next year that can't be ignored, and they take the 4 wild cards. So there's no wild cards left, and ticket sales bomb because those invites and those the other players aren't there. Where does that leave the product in terms, like we spoke earlier about it needing to sell tickets? It needs bums on seats to bring money in to improve everything. Is there a danger that it could fall flat for that reason?
There's a danger that it falls flat because people don't want to see Phill Taylor chuck a 72 average anymore. Like, it goes both ways, right? People are going to want to go and see what they want to go and see. And I think all event promoters right now will tell you that it's incredibly difficult to sell. Part of the reason it's been moved to a 3-day event instead of a 4-day event is those costs. And one of the days we're cutting is one of the 2 days that traditionally doesn't sell tickets very well. Thursday's been a bit of a struggle. Sunday's been a bit of a struggle, but we want the biggest crowd possible on a Saturday night when the final takes place. And that's now what it's going to be. So look, there is a possibility. Traditionally, the sessions that have sold well have been retained within this move. And there's still no word on what happens with the rest of the tournaments throughout the year. We've got the Champion of Champions. We've got the Masters and the Match Play. This is just an announcement for the 2025 World Seniors Darts Championship, where we want to prove who the best over 50 in the world is, not the best over 50 that everybody wants to see and cheer on from their bedroom, right? You get that risk with a PDC World Championship. Van Gerwen could get injured. Gerwen Price could break his arm and decide he's off to be a builder again. Luke Humphries could drop out. Luke Littler could be nowhere. And then you're going, well, where does that leave the product? Same with the World Series. We're sat there going, only certain people are going to sell tickets, but Premier League venues are sold out, right? So you have to build an atmosphere, and that's up to me, who's part of the promotion team and the marketing team and whoever else to keep building this product. It's up to the players that are involved on the tour to build up their social media followings and their own commercial viability themselves and be that little bit more marketable. And it's up to the product to deliver a level that is good enough.
Boise, he just said the words that he hates. They left his mouth.
I'm not upset. I'm disappointed with him. That's what it is, Philip.
The words commercial viability left Gob's mouth.
It made me sick. I'm not going to lie. It just didn't come out. That's it. Changed, you have. You've changed. 12 days out your house, you've changed. 10 days, whatever it is. Oh,
well, like
Paul, no, absolute, no
We've made a move the other way, and now it's up to those players to respond.
No way, Jack Darwood for PDC German. Not a chance.
If 3 years ago you'd have sat here and said that Richie Howson before the World Seniors Darts Tour is going to be one of the biggest ticket sellers and be one of the biggest draws, you'd have been laughed out of the room. But he's turned into that.
Yeah.
And it's up to more people now to go out and become Richie Howsons.
I'm just asking the questions, that's all.
Keep asking them, man. I'll keep giving you answers.
No, look.
Yeah, there is a risk, right? But there is also the fact that now this is the best over 50 in the world. There's a pathway there. You can go and stick that on your CV. 50 grand to the winner. People are going to want to see. And if that is... There's a bloody big carrot dangling in front of players now that perhaps have dropped off the tour or haven't committed to the floor events or have relied on those invitations. It's now up to them to go to the floor events and put themselves back in the hunt to go and get there anyway. The field could be exactly the same next year. There could be absolutely no debutant.
Oh, yeah, 100% there could be.
Yeah. It's a possibility. But it's also about making it attractive to others. As you said, Steve Beaton already made that call. Mervyn King's in decline. Simon Whitlock's approaching that age. Even Johnny Clayton's over the age of 50. I don't think he's about to walk away from the PDC anytime soon. But there's plenty out there. Raymond van Barneveld, 50 grand is very attractive to a player who is muddling along and is desperate to win another world title or another title of some sort. There are plenty of dart players out there that would jump at the chance to win 50,000. Mentor Sulevic, another. And it's about making the rest of the tour either making an environment where they have to be there to go and earn that 50 grand or they want to be there.
Good stuff all round. That was the seniors side of it. But all in all, an exceptional tournament, and congratulations to the Highlander, John Henderson, who adds that to his list. Obviously, we've spoken about Phill. Let's go to the other side, the Premier League in full swing, but it was MVG who made it back-to-back wins. But let's be fair, didn't play well this week, but still won it.
Mr. Bars, this is definitely your turn to shine.
Yeah. I know. Okay, that's not an issue at all. Look, we went to the first trip to Scotland, the Hydro in Glasgow. Sellout, unbelievable atmosphere. Literally one of the bigger arenas, and it was sold out. Superb. Mental note though, game one, Rob Cross, Michael Smith. If you're going to do touristy things that in a city that has a huge divide, by all means go and do them, but put them on your social media the day after the tournament. Rob Cross obviously went to the Rangers game on the Wednesday, did the VIP and X, Y, and Z, and I'm sure he had an amazing time. However, when you stand at the top of the walk-on, and I'll tell you what, I don't know, chat room, let me know if it came across, he got absolute pouters for it. It's just like...
When we talked about all the stuff that players have done over the years, Derwin Price is probably a key example. Never been a fan's favourite apart from if he's in Wales, doing all the stuff with the jerseys to make them specific to the city that they're playing in, to make a move like that the day before, where you're going to certainly divide in the crowd, is, I was about to say it's a strange move. It's not, it's just stupid.
Yeah, but by all means, go and do it and have a great time. Not an issue with that, but just put it on your socials the day after. Because he literally got absolutely pouters from the crowd. Like, yeah, it wasn't a great game against Michael Smith, but
even if it was just him being at the match, I don't think it'd have been too bad. It's like the picture with the mascot, and he literally went all out as a Rangers fanboy for 24 hours. Strange.
Yeah, it was just like
strange.
Yeah, baffling. But look, he got the better of Michael Smith. Wasn't a great game, but he was the better player. MVG then beat Peter Wright. And this was a strange game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Both of them were crap. It was an awful game. And Peter will look back, and we've got a clip to play in a minute, that Michael was there for the taking. Michael's only averaged 89 and he's won 6-2.
Peter was very deluded in this clip. That's my input, by the way. I barely saw a thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You took the seniors.
We saw glimpses of Humphreys playing and blah, blah, blah. But this clip is the epitome of delusion.
Should we play it now before we go on then?
Please.
Yeah, and I was just gutted to let them down. You know, even though I was like 5-1 down, I thought, you know, if it clicked, because Michael's not on it, and I was thinking, I could still win this game. You know, I know where my game is, and it's like, I don't know. I was just waiting for it to go ding, and I was ready. But you know, Michael probably would have stepped up as well as if I started hitting something.
we saw some real improvements from you on the Pro Tour in Wigan, some really good averages again, more like yourself. So does that make tonight even more frustrating because you know it's there?
Yeah, you know, well, no, it was nowhere near on the Pro Tour, to be honest. There was just like my finishing got me out of sticky situations on the Pro Tour. But obviously my finishing there was absolute, you know, wasn't great. It was terrible, to be honest. But it's, you know, you're not playing in front of 10,000 people on a floor tournament, are you? So it's, you know, it's totally different. And, you know, you're playing in front of you know, your home crowd. It's, you know, you've got that added extra pressure, and it's hard to deal with, to be honest. But you know, but I felt great going up there. I felt practice was going really good and stuff like that. But maybe in a couple of weeks it might start coming out properly, you know, in the Premier League. And you know, I know I'll finish in the top 4 definitely.
It was all going so well. It was all going so. It was, other than that, it was a really good interview, right? He's not quite delivered on the floor. He's gone back to the elements. He's rushed a couple of different dart jobs throughout the last couple of weeks. He's gone back to that. He's thrown more consistently. The averages are creeping up. Like he was right, his finishing got him out of trouble. At one point, he was in the competition conversation for biggest 180 hit an award with these darts. But that can and will come back. But that very last line is just moronic. He's made the finals twice in 11 years. And he started off as worse he possibly can. This format requires even more consistency than any of the previous ones. He's lost the plot. And I know you have to say those sort of things as sportsmen, so you haven't given up and don't want to get bad, but you ain't making the top 4, mate. He'd be lucky to make the bottom 4, the form he's in. There's only 8 players.
When the words left his mouth, I was a little bit okay.
He's petrified of silence. So how stupid a thing can I say before somebody cuts in and stops me or asks me another question or responds to what I'm saying?
Yeah. Was funny. Nathan Aspinall against Luke Humphreys. Luke Humphreys turned up in Glasgow. This is the Luke Humphreys that won the World Championship and 3 other TV tournaments at the back end of last year. 105 average and was pushed. We'll come on to him a little bit more in a minute. Gerwen Price beat Luke Littler in a last leg decider. And again, national media jumping on little things, creating stupidity, clickbait things around Luke. At 5-all, I think it was 96. He's gone for treble 20, obviously, single 20, and he's gone tried to go double 18, double top, and he's gone outside on the double 18. And he was annoyed with himself. You know, when dart players beat themselves up, they give themselves a talking to, and then literally within 20 minutes.
He punched himself at one point this weekend, Barrow. I've never seen the man so frustrated.
Yeah, and it was like, and then there was these stupid headlines about petulancy and whatever. It's like, can we just give the kid a fucking break, please? This is ridiculous.
The problem is because of the amount of press he's had in 2 months, which it's ridiculous to think of a darting world without Luke Littler in it, as of how much press there's been in 2 months. That's all he's really been in the national media. From the darting world, we've been fully aware of the talents of Luke Littler to where he has done in the short spurt of time, maybe not, but everything that Luke does, whether it be what he eats, what sport he's going to, his relationship status, anything whatsoever that boy does is spoken about. If he's frustrated, it's in the media limelight. It's not good. However, this is where the question marks were about Luke being in the Premier League too soon, because one bad day or 3 or 4 bad days, that's where we will see, one, his mental strength at such a young age, and 2, the support he's got around him to make sure, from his perspective, he's just ignoring any sort of clickbait material that's going out or any way that's that's trying to get a reaction, because that's what they're trying to do. Because a 17-year-old in today's world, whether he's a superstar or not, is very active on social media. So he's going to see all this. It's just making sure he's not reacting to that.
I saw one the other day, right, and this sums up the British clickbait drive media for whatever, and it was Luke Humphries hits the jackpot as partner agrees to marry him, and it was a photo of Luke Littler.
Yeah.
Nobody's proposed. Nobody's done anything. They've got the wrong Luke on the fucking headline. It was a joke. It's an absolute nightmare for him. And look, he's handled it really well up until this moment. Look, the stuff he got at the World Championships was bang out of order, and it's only going to continue to keep coming, because at the moment, half the world is looking for news stories on Luke Littler and wants to know what he's up to and what he's doing. The national papers and press are covering darts on a level that we've never seen before. GB News, the kid can't sneeze without them writing a fucking article, and they're a disgrace of an outlet as it is. Keith Deller and that want to be ashamed. But it's just a joke right now. And like you said, one little slip is all it's taken for that. And the problem is, much like we saw with Fallon Sherrock, and we still see with Fallon Sherrock to this day, if we're being quite honest, the over-pushing will turn fans against them. Luke lost today, and the first comment I saw anywhere was, oh my God, isn't it unreal what happened when he doesn't have a wall full of fans chanting and putting his opponent off? 17!
Yeah, and he lost to a very good performance from Callum Ridds.
Yeah. But apparently it's because he has everybody cheering for him in a venue that he's won whatever he's won.
Yeah. And look, it was a good game. Gezzy's averaged 96.5. Luke's averaged 97. Really good game. He's gone for a double-double miss. Got annoyed with himself like any dart player does. We see Gezzy do it. We see Michael do it all the time. And it's just like, please, can we just get some thing? Like the worst one was last week, Sport Bible, when he lost to Radek Sadansky. The headline was
unranked
Polish lorry, a bus driver. It's like, come on now.
That's the downside of him being picked. It would have been easier for him to not pick him, but we'd have missed out, and that would have so much brilliance from Luke Littler. The petulance on stage, we probably associate with a Michael Smith first coming into the game and that sort of. But we had moments this weekend, Jack, you'll probably remember who it was, who sort of just flicked the dart and threw it out the board in the seniors and ended up leaving themselves on 5. I can't remember who it was who did it. Who?
And Robert Thornton in the loss to Andy Hamilton.
Yes. And it's like, that is someone who's that's someone who's 2 times seniors world champion at the time and still defending that title. So that can happen for a sportsman to do something like that. It should happen. You should be better than that on stage, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really good game, and Gezzy came out on top. The 2 semi-finals, MVG beat Rob 6-4. Again, it was a game that MVG controlled throughout. Luke Humphries, again, another ton average to beat Gerwen Price. And then the final, Luke Humphries has averaged a ton, but lost in a last leg decider to MVG. And Luke Humphries, this is one that he'll be scratching his head how this one got away, because he was the better player. But as Michael says so often, I did the right things at the right times and bits like that. We've got 2 clips to play. We'll discuss these, and then we'll do Michael first.
I do love a bit.
I'm not going to switch off. I'll probably switch off tonight, to be fair. But I still want somehow. But I always believe in my own ability, and I think when my performance was strong today, the gameplay, the way how I finished it, the way how I put the people under pressure on the right moments, and sometimes you can see that's important as well.
Is that a worry for everyone else, the fact that you're now 3 points clear at the top, back-to-back wins, and you're not playing your best?
Maybe. Yeah, you can better ask the other guys. I don't want to do too many interviews, because then I have to tell other players what to do. Not really, to be fair. They didn't really test me, did they?
He's back to playing with them in the media, shall we say. They didn't really test me. I've won and they've not bothered me. I don't want to keep doing interviews because I have to tell the man to do better. It's only week 3 and he started, isn't he?
This is bored by week 10.
I think this is now not about Michael for a few weeks. It's where Michael is come April, May time. And I don't mean that for the Premier League. I mean about his success going into the end of 2024. To be a successful year for Michael has got to see multiple TV events. And we're seeing now that he's able to beat these numerous times in the Premier League, but it's making sure he progresses and moves that on into the year. But I am with Dob. Might get a bit boring by week 10.
Oh, yeah,
if not already.
Also, I think if you get away with it up until week 10, like, don't get me wrong, we have seen some very good performances from him. I think we've also seen very average performances from him in this Premier League campaign so far. He's been in all 3 finals, isn't he? He's just 2 of the last 3. Sorry, I didn't make the first one. Tough part of the draw this week.
We'll come on to that in a minute, but yeah, he's playing with them already. Interesting one from this was a good one from Luke Humphries as well, and we'll play it and then we'll discuss.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was important for myself to play well. Everybody sort of, I think it was Tuesday, saying that I'm written off and worst world champion. So I just wanted to come out and play well. That's what I really wanted to do. I was quite unlucky not to win that in the end. I think that I threw really nice darts to go 5-2 up there, but I didn't go in that start. So I'm proud of the way I played today. It was much better consistently, and I'm where I want to be in the top 4. Not really. I'm not really that frustrated. I'm just obviously disappointed to lose, but that's the starts, isn't it? We can't always win every game we play. I think Michael played really well. I think Nathan played fantastic against me as well. He was very unlucky to lose that game. But yeah, I understand the pressures of being world champion. Everybody, every game you lose, whether it's the Ian White game on Monday, I got fairly beaten, and everybody gets on your back, and it can become tiresome. I've not to sound downbeat, but I've not had sort of a long lot of time off since September, so I do feel tired. But I'm working through it. I'm turning up every time. I'm still turning up and trying my best, and I'll continue to keep doing that.
Feel your pain, Lukey boy.
So the first time though, he's had a bit of a bite back at the criticism and unfair criticism he's had as well from certain elements of the media.
Yeah, frankly ridiculous. And you've got to feel for Luke as well, because like in interviews he's done so far, he says he doesn't mind about the attention that Luke Little is getting. But I think if you've worked so hard and for so long to achieve something, and you do it, and then all the attention is elsewhere, you will be a little bit gutted. Some people say that winning the World Championships in the last couple of years isn't what they thought it would be, or you don't feel any different in the moment afterwards in the next day. But actually, I think Luke's been robbed of a little bit more of that than anybody else in the last few years as well. So there is that element. Yes, Luke Littler is therefore shouldering a lot of that and the attention, and Humphries can go about his life as he wants. But there are other benefits that come with being world champion, things like sponsorship deals. How is Littler signing a deal with one of the biggest clothing lines in the country over the world champion, for instance? Like, that's the sort of things that should be coming to Luke Humphries, who is the perfect role model, by the way.
I think that can benefit him long term now, Dob. The rest of this year.
In this moment, it's very difficult as a human being to not begrudge what's going on after when something's supposed to go a certain way and it's gone a certain way for so many others, and then it happens to you and it goes differently. It's human nature to feel aggrieved a little bit.
Yeah, possibly, but that's the nature of the beast. We've seen it in so many other sports that not necessarily the best sportsman gets the best commercial deals.
Yeah, but even then, I'm not even sure. Not necessarily, like you said, not the best sportsman gets the best commercial deals, but Humphries should be mega. He should be absolutely massive. Right? He is proof that the system works. He started his way in a development tour, worked his way all the way up, former world youth champion. He's changed his image around because he's gone and lost a shed load of weight and realised that actually this sport now is about being an athlete, not your stereotypical pub chucker. He's openly spoken about mental health and battled through that. He's a young person. He's got a young family. He's got a great image. He speaks really well. He plays the game brilliantly. Doesn't get involved in any drama or call anybody else. He carries himself incredibly well. He is the perfect image to go and be your world number one and world champion. He is your perfect poster boy. And yet, in the nicest way possible, there's a 16-year-old kebab-eating TikToker that's taken it all from him.
Yeah, but
That
that's
might be a bit harsh on Littler, but do you know, like, if you look at it at that level.
Saying the nicest way possible and then saying something like that means absolutely nothing, by the way, Dom. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. I think from a, like I said, from a long term regarding this year, I think that would benefit Luke Humphries. Just the pressure of being world champion, we've seen Michael Smith, the obvious candidate. Last 12 months just didn't go for Michael Smith, and yes, he took a different approach to being world champion than we'll see from Luke Humphries. But I think that would help Luke Humphries look at the match play in July. The attention is not going to be on the world champion, where I can't think of another year where it hasn't been. So they're the sort of times where Humphries needs to take advantage of not being publicised as much as you are normally as a world champ.
It's interesting. It is. But look, that's the nature of the beast. In any sport, that's the nature of it. That's what it is. Now, it's not about the best sportsman. I know you love sport to be pure gob, but it's not anymore.
No.
And this is a case in point.
No, but if we're going back to, in terms of being rewarded commercially, no. But in terms of the opposite end of it and the abuse and the messages and stuff that Humphries has had in the last few weeks as well, saying that's the nature of the beast for me is wrong. It shouldn't be. It should never be acceptable to do things like that. And I know that does not make sense, but I think we need to address
that. But again, that's the society.
With anything like that, you're an absolute moron.
But that's the society that we live in, and it's wrong, by the way, and I agree. But that's the point where social media companies have to do more. That there has to be a consequence for someone to go on. Whatever you type to anyone, there has to be a consequence, but there's not, because you can set up multiple accounts and just have an egg as your profile picture. There's no consequence to that. Social media account should be like having a gambling account, where you have to prove who you are to have that account, so there is some accountability. But until that happens, there won't be. I could set up a Twitter account now and just go and abuse you for the next hour.
Don't need a Twitter account for
that. But do you see what I mean? That's a society we live in. There is no accountability on social media. People can write whatever they want with no consequences. You wouldn't say some of the things that you see, you wouldn't say in person because you get punched. But because you're behind a keyboard with nothing there, people can think they can do what they want.
Maybe
maybe
Matt Potter was right. Maybe we are all just keyboard warriors.
But we move on. And this week we are on the banks of the Toon as we hit Newcastle for night 4. The Utilita Arena is this week's destination. Gents, and Gob, you'll be pleased there's no flags this year.
Too right.
Boom.
There's nothing against Chris. If you're going to set a rule, stick to the rule. I'm a stickler for a rule.
What is that rule?
No football colours.
They wear them in Holland.
I don't agree with that either.
It did look good though.
Just let it happen everywhere then. Let me rock up to Liverpool Premier League in Liverpool shirt. No, they won't do that.
No.
I wouldn't let you either.
You're an idiot.
But Utila, always a good venue, always a good atmosphere. The 4 quarterfinals, Michael Smith takes on Nathan Aspinall, Luke Humphries, Rob Cross, Luke Littler, Peter Wright, and Gerwen Price plays Michael Van Gerwen. Before we dissect them, which tie are you looking forward to the most?
Michael Smith, Nathan Aspinall, because Nathan Aspinall is getting away with the fact that his name's not being mentioned about having a poor start to this Premier League because of Peter Wright. The fact that someone's got 0 points after 3 weeks would normally get spoken about a little bit more. And Asp has played very well the last 2 weeks in 4 legs, 5 legs, whatever it's been, and then dipped significantly. Now's the time he's got to prove his worth. And actually, the flip side of that is Michael Smith has started the season very well. So that's probably, for me, the one that stands out with a bit more intrigue than the other 3.
Yeah, there's huge intrigue around that tie, and it is on first as well. And yeah, look, Peter Wright's form has maybe deflected away from Nathan Aspinall, but I feel Nathan's getting better. I thought he played well last week. So I'm not concerned yet.
No, I'm not concerned, but he played well against Michael Van Gerwen for the first 4 legs, or 3 or 4 legs, averaging 108, 7, 8 in the early stages. That one in week 2 and then collapsed. It's similar to Luke Humphries. Yes, Luke played very, very well. And it's not that I'm worried about Nathan Aspinall yet. However, this is a must win because he then goes into the following week against Peter Wright, and you don't really want to be down into week 5 with both players on 0. I think you need something out of this week.
The issue with Nathan is he got spanked today. Cannot get anything going anywhere else. We know full well that winning breeds confidence, and he's not doing an awful lot of winning right now. He's been competitive in the matches we've seen him play in the Premier League without getting the results. So look, we know that he thrives on that atmosphere. He's been very good in the years that he has played in the Premier League. He's made the top 4 for the most of them. But he's just not getting results right now. And look, we said by week 4 or week 5, if Luke Littler hasn't got a win, then we'd be questioning his inclusion. We're going to get to that point with Nathan Aspinall, despite the fact he won the match playing Peter Wright very, very soon. Because at the minute, it's looking like the only time either of them are going to pick up points is when they play each other.
Yeah. Right, let's run through them. So first up, Michael Smith against Nathan Aspinall. What are we saying?
Asp, that's the win. 6-4.
Rob?
Smith.
I've gone Asp 6-4 as well.
Smith 6-4.
Next, Luke Humphries against Roberto Cross.
I've done, mine are already down, so I've done 6-3 Luke Humphries.
I've gone 6-4 Luke Humphries. Gob?
6-4 Cross.
Littler against Wright.
I'll let you the first Gob.
Luke Littler 6, Peter Wright 3.
Luke Littler 6, Peter Wright 0.
Luke Littler 6, Peter Wright 4. I think it'll be closer. MBG Price.
Halfway. MVG sits 3.
Gerwen Price 6. Van Gerwen 5.
I have also gone 6-5, but I've gone 6-5 to MVG. So, who wins in Newcastle?
Tall hand, Luke Humphreys sits. Mr. Boohoo, Luke Littler 4.
Gerwen Price beats Rob Cross 6-3.
Luke Humphreys beats Gerwen Price 6-4. So that was the Premier League for this week. Right, I know it's been spoken about in the chat room, and it was on the list to bring up, so we'll bring it up anyway. Obviously, the news has come out on Twitter today that Jack Main has received a suspension. We knew that he'd been charged when it was ban, suspension, same thing. You can't play.
Suspension is when you're under investigation. Ban is a fixed period of time. But yeah, carry on.
So the DRA news says this. On the 11th of December 2023, the DRA Disciplinary Committee heard a case against Jack Main where he was charged with fixing an outcome of a match with Lisa Ashton played on the 9th of June 2023 at the Modus Super Series event. The committee found that he breached the DRA rule 2.12 and 2.13. On the 9th of February, the committee released the decision. The sanctions on Jack Main has been suspended from attending or competing in DRA governed events until the 31st of December 2025 and pay costs of £762.41. He has the right to appeal the decision to the Disciplinary Commission. A short time ago, Jack Main has posted on his Twitter. I will read the response. We have 3 of the faces with the zip across the mouth. I'll keep my head high, knowing I haven't done anything wrong, knowing there is no facts. I'll come back stronger. A statement will be coming from myself, if I'm allowed, but until then, I won't be commenting. Obviously, my name is already highlighted.
He also responded to a live darts tweet saying, asked them to provide the evidence after I provided everything I could. Asked them what I've been banned for. Also, fact probability. I will continue to say I'm not guilty.
So that's it. Jack Main has been suspended. That was the official words on the DRA website. He is still maintaining his innocence, and by that, I'm guessing he's going to appeal. I would suggest from that, but let's see what happens.
Not good.
No, look, it's obviously not, and we know there are another 2 cases that are being investigated. That there's still no news from the DRA, so until there is, we won't comment any further on them.
It's one thing I will add. It's not good. Totally agree. However, hopefully the fact that there is now totally 2 active cases and 1 potential appeal going on the basis of a response means that with these cases being active, it will hopefully make sure that it's not done again, because you know what will happen if people are guilty of such actions. we've seen it have an impact on a few players now, and hopefully we don't see any more.
Yeah, look, sadly,
it just becomes a deterrent, and the only way it becomes a bigger deterrent after we've already seen McKinstry and look, Nyman's already back playing is bigger punishments. We don't want that in sport. And look, most of these are taking place at the Motor Super Series, and these will continue to be punished if that's the sort of thing you're going to attempt to do while you're there.
Yeah, look, we've seen it in other sports. Snooker last year had a massive issue with top players doing it, major winners doing it. We've seen it with established international cricketers. It's sadly creeping into sport, which is not good.
No, especially as, whether we like it or not, a lot of revenue in sport is generated by gambling companies. As positive as the move away in darts was from bookmakers as headline sponsors for the PDC and Kazoo coming in, that was only because Kazoo offered a shed load more cash. There are only so many businesses in the world prepared to offer the sponsorship levels that bookmakers can offer. And if people keep taking advantage of the multiple markets out there that you can bet on in play and live, and that people want to get involved on by spot fixing, match fixing, fixing an outcome, whatever, then that will slowly go away.
Yeah, and look, it is a sad day, but I suppose the plus thing to take from this is the system is working because they are being caught. I'm not saying that thing, but that should also be the deterrent, that saying, look, you're not going to get away with this because the system is catching them.
Yeah, but let's be honest, it's just pure greed, isn't it? It's people seeing an opportunity to make even more money of what they earn from being in some of these a privileged position, and it's just pure greed. If found guilty,
yeah, but that is that one. Pro Tour today, Ryan Searle made it to his third final, and this time he's over the line. He beats his practice partner and friend Gary Anderson. So first of all, congratulations to Heavy Metal. What a start to the season he's had. But right now, Gary Anderson and Ryan Searle, what a start they've had to the season.
The statement needs to be beyond that. Right now, they are two of the most informed players in the world. And yes, it is just a small sample of data right now, but the consistency and the level that they're producing on the floor right now is better than 60% of the Premier League players.
100%. It's been incredible.
And to probably add to it, we talked about the Premier League and so many games happen over and over again that we're that bored of seeing. We all want to see Ryan Searle, Gary Anderson, Doherty even more, which is very strange because we keep sitting here doing, I don't want to see Luke versus Luke 6 times, as much as it can produce and as much as it gives you this and that. Right now, Anderson, Ryan Searle, let's be honest, if it's a Pro Tour final tomorrow, we know it's going to deliver because it has done already a couple of times. So Ryan Searle's just in incredible form. I know the pair of you have debated already around Searle picking up a title, a TV title this year, but what a way to start the year. I don't know what's more. I think it's more impressive that he's got to 3 finals. That is a huge achievement at the start of the year.
Yeah, also Gary Anderson broke the record for 180s in a Pro Tour day. 41 maximums he's hit today.
Over there at the office with Gary, isn't it? It's fair to say the new darts are working.
We spoke about this earlier. I'm going to get Boyce in on the equation and chat room as well. Does Gary Anderson win a TV tournament in 2024?
So easy to say no. No, he doesn't. I'm going to stick with you. I was going to go with initial. No, he doesn't. Again, it's the fact that Darren Henderson's formed and being spurts, and we've seen it on the floor. We've seen him have a dud year last year, but still, they're into that final or winning one of these TV tournaments. I'm assuming by TV you're not on about Euro tours, Phil. You're on about proper so-called major TV. Euro tours TV now, really.
The PDC televised title.
No, he doesn't. Cheers, Rob.
It's got a point. How about Dave? Cheers not to win today. He won one leg.
What are you saying, Gob? Does Gary?
I'm going to say no with the anticipation. I hope that he does. Like, it's not very often I admit to just say, yeah, I want to be wrong, but I want to be wrong about this one. But I don't want to get hurt by believing that he is going to.
Oh, I think he does.
A free-flowing Gary is magnificent. Delight to watch. He gets on with it. He plays the game in the right way when he's up on the hockey. You can argue or give your opinion on his moaning or whatever else you want to call it as much as you want. But for me, he's one of the greatest that ever lived. He's so natural, so brilliant. And him playing well is fantastic for the sport. Like 41 180s. You just love to see that form. But it's can he go and produce it 4 or 5 times in a day on TV? Not in a day, in a week or whatever. To win the Grand Slam would be perfect. The one he absolutely wants.
I think he does. I think he wins one. I've got the hope.
These levels at the minute are ridiculous. It's UK Open round the corner. Then it's a bit of a gap as well before we're back on TV. I'm not sure. I think he picked up a couple of Euro Tour events, but I'm not convinced it's a TV one.
He's in right now. If this carries on for another month in this kind of form, he has a very deep run at the UK Open, maybe wins a Euro Tour. If you're the PDC, are you asking the question about the World Series? Because we know Michael's not going to Australia. There aren't many people that can replace Michael in terms of stature, fans' favourite, X, Y, and Z, but Gary is one of them.
Rich Nelson.
And that. Do you ask the question? Do you test the water?
Yeah, because you can get rid of Peter Wright at the same time. Then you've got your token Scott. Win-win all around. World Series, yeah. Look, the worry I've got is look, he's going to be back playing on the Euro Tour as well this year. If he wins the Euro Tour, I'll be buzzing for him. Don't push it. Don't overdo it.
No, I just said you test the water.
It's brilliant. If you ask the question once. Don't ask the question 5, 6, 7 times going, actually, we really want you, and keep going back with different offers, because all you do is agitate the man. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play. If he does, he'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't get it. You just test the water and ask the question.
Yeah. For a World Series, yeah. For the Premier League next year, no.
Depending on what he does. You can't say no if he then goes on and wins the World Championship.
Well, no, you have to ask the question, but then once. Yeah. Not put pressure on him because he's a world champion to go and play, because he won't enjoy it and he'll rebel against it.
Well, it's interesting that, obviously, commented there that they haven't announced the US field yet, which I find interesting. Because normally we've got it by now. So I'm intrigued. Will it be
trying to make them take more players, because that's what he's got to do for the sake of each tour? Too soon?
That was a funny.
Too soon?
I know it's all over social media, so he can't ignore it. It was funny. If you're taking them out, who are you taking to New York then?
Littler, Humphreys, Van Gerwen, Price, Smith, Gary, Bunting.
I'm going to stop you there because you have to put Aspinall in because he's in the top 4 in the world.
Nathan Aspinall.
So I'm going to stop you there. You haven't got a choice in that one. He is in.
Who we want or who should be? Or who will be, sorry.
That's not a rule in the World Series.
Yeah, it's top 4 in the world get picked for the World Series if they get offered it.
You said if they get offered it. Well, if you ain't gonna get, I'm not offering it to Nathan Aspinall. He's not playing well enough. Go and play better on a Pro Tour, and I'll take you.
The PDC offer the top 4 in the world get offered the World Series.
Right, you worded that badly, but I'm declining his offer on my behalf, and we are taking. Who should we take instead? Rob Cross.
For me, I wouldn't put Rob Cross in the Premier League. I would, though, like I said, on who I would like to see now, I would add Bunting. I would have Dolby. I would have Dando. And this year's Andrew Dilding from the UK Open, and then your top 4. MVG. Not MVG, he's not doing Humphreys, Littler, Smith, and Aspinall. But it's not. Let's be honest. It'll be the 6 of the Premier League, 7 of the Premier League, and Littler, and Johnny maybe, depending on what he does between now and then.
I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be the Premier League 8, and it's just like, yeah.
It will be the Premier League 8, with the exception of Michael if Michael's not doing.
No, Michael's doing New York. He's not doing Australia.
Oh, well. Yeah, Premier League 8 then.
Yay! Let's watch him play for a 14th time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, but the UK audience will be asleep because when it's on, so it doesn't matter.
I'm happy.
Returned to form today, and he told us in Den Bosch that the injury was on the mend, and we've seen signs that Dirk has turned a corner. Some good stuff today from the Aubergine. Just getting to the top 6, the last 16. Lost with a 10 average to Luke Littler. There are signs that Dirk is on the mend, chaps. He put on his Instagram, was it last week? He hit a 9 as well.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a good sign because the worry was it was only going to be a downward spiral for Dirk. So if we can see him back playing, we know how dangerous he can be on the Pro Tour. We've seen many, many deep runs. It's certainly a positive because he's one who's been in conversations around Premier League, who's been in conversations about World Series events. So if we can let Dirk back to throwing as many 180s as we've seen him done mental on days before, that's only a positive. And let's be honest, it's not the bad way to lose, is it, to lose it at the minute?
No, absolutely. And look, there was some more today. Steve Lennon, Danny Noppert getting to quarterfinals. Callum Ridds getting to a semi-final. It's been a good day as people return to form.
Yes. What you said.
He's still thinking about the World Series, isn't he?
It's getting late now, isn't it? I'm dead.
Um,
I'm thinking about the World Series, but I'm thinking for the other ones, not necessarily New York, but which part of the draw they put Damon Hatter and Simon Whitlock in.
I think Damon Heta will go as a PDC player. Simon Whitlock will go the other side.
Correct.
Not taking the Premier League 8, doesn't it? Which means at least somebody's getting left home. Unless they put the Premier League 8 in everything, then suddenly Damon Heta is floated in the other half of the draw. And
No,
then
MVG's not going. So,
do we see an American or a Canadian in New York? Did we miss that?
Oh, they'll be on the other side. They'll be on the other side, won't they?
Yeah.
Scottish Open this week. Why have they disappeared from Dart Connect?
I don't know. Today's Pro Tour results weren't there for a while, and neither were the seniors from the weekend, so you got to go dig in. No, not WSDT, WDF. Must be doing an update. Oh, mine are there.
Mine are there, yeah.
That 4 billion events, though. So you just have to open them and close them, scroll miles.
Yeah, normally you just go to matches and they're all there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see any of it. Just saw on obviously social media a lot of it. Dave Prince getting to a final.
Getting to a final and missing match darts. That's
did he miss match darts as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We were sat with Derek at the time, wasn't we? Chat on this tour. I think Dave, Glenn Parsons missed darts. Dave Prince chucked in a 180 to leave 12, missed 3, and then Parsons came back and cleaned it up, I want to say. So yeah, that is literally that little section of that last leg was all I saw of anything on Dartnet to follow him. But yeah, Glenn Parsons come through the classic, and then the Open was won by Gary Robson.
It's been a while since Gary Robson was there or thereabouts. In the Scottish Classic Women's Single event was won by Aileen de Graaf. And the other one was won by Fallon Sherrick.
No, we're not talking about that one.
Only because she completely mugged you off, Prime Boy.
To be fair, I told her that. I said, we're not going to talk about it because she sent me a silly message. And she said, to be honest, mate, I wouldn't either. So she's not that big on her win anyway.
No, but look, it's time on the board for Fallon. Obviously, the Women's Series gets underway next month. And look, I'm looking forward to the Women's Series coming back because we've obviously got Bo, Fallon, Lisa playing well again, Aileen winning. It's a real good mix, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where the race for the match play really comes to light. We've obviously got a few of the names you've mentioned there you'd expect to be in the top 4 or 5 of those places, but then so as much as you've got those battling out deep into most tournaments, and we've seen Bo have ridiculous run, Fallon have ridiculous run, Lee's come into form, we also have that race for them 6, 7, 8 spots for match play, and we've seen what the match play can do over the past couple of years for Bo and Fallon. So it's going to be a very interesting women's series the end of March, I want to say, towards the last week or 2 of March, isn't it? So it's good, and it's good to see because we haven't seen it as much the past few years. Fallon going to so many events that are on .net. So obviously I know she plays local leads and county and all that sort of stuff. To go to all these events, we've seen her in Vegas, was it a few weeks ago now at the Scottish Open?
Yeah.
It's just a positive that she's going out there and playing it as much as she is. And hopefully we'll see a good run in the Women's Series next month.
It's an intriguing Women's Series coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Been a while, the race to the match play. Should be good.
Which on that, God, before I come back to another point, what does your gut say? Does Lisa Ashton play in the women's series or the seniors, champion of champions?
I have no idea. This is the honest truth. There's no gut at the moment. She's turned down invitations before. You said that you spoke to her and her focus is on the women's series this year. It's just...
Yeah, when we spoke to her on Saturday, the women's world match play is her number one target this year. Winning that was the number one.
And qualifying for that shouldn't be a concern if she misses one weekend. The problem with qualification is because of the calendar split, the World Championship qualification, if that's an aim of Lisa's to be in the mix for that come the end of the season, that's where the decision needs to be made. Not about Blackpool. She sat in third. She'd still comfortably be in that top 8, I would say, after 4 events. So it would take something special for her not to be in the top 8 after those 4 events. But it's then unnecessary pressure.
It would. Fallon Sherrock's trip to the World Series a few years ago is obviously quite a large warning sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this one. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the difference is because the Dutch Open is on TV. That's the difference.
Correct. Yeah. Cammy responded back to someone, is where I saw that this weekend, on some sort of social media platform around. He was asked why he was playing, and he's only able to play in the doubles because the doubles final isn't streamed. Dutch Open similar, does the final is streamed. If they were to play it and get to the final, they'd obviously have to drop out. So,
yeah. That's the ruling that's been quoted, whether that's right or wrong. But yeah, the Dutch Open's actually on TV because I'm sure it was on RTL 7.
Yeah, it was back on RTL.
Yeah. So that was that one. Should we open the chat room for question time then, boys?
One thing that you haven't mentioned, Mr. Bars, is one thing we always forget.
I know what you're going to say. Scott Taylor, Modus Super Series, Series 6 champion. And look, I didn't see all of it because obviously we were at the Tavern. I watched the final, and look, Scott Taylor is an incredible player. Not a surprise that he's got it.
I thought he was going to mention the smell in the venue, not the darts.
Fartgate.
Yeah, he is an incredible player, and then same as you, I saw bits of the final, but not much else of the Saturday. But yeah, top player, and a little bit richer, and moves us in nicely to double trouble.
Yeah.
Promised me a 9 and not deliver, so he doesn't count.
Tom Sykes, look, Tom Sykes is a really, really good player. The Yorkshire boys have been banging his drum for a while, so not a surprise there. But yeah, let's open question time then. Get your questions in, everyone. Did you enjoy Double Trouble today? Did you see any of it?
No, I was driving and then I was streaming.
I saw bits. Yeah, generally good. Like the idea of it. I like the concept of a different Super Series. And more importantly, it doesn't have an impact on Champions Week because these need to bring something different. So the fact that they're individual tournaments, I think generally is a very, very good idea. Also glad that they reduced the format as well. So I think it makes it even more brutal. And that's what that's what these sort of unique events should be. Very, very brutal. We talked about variations of darts games, whether it be 1001, Phil's constantly on about a Royal Rumble, all these sort of variations. That's what Motor Super Series can bring because of it not being ranked or any sort of thing like that. We can have those variations, so why not?
Yeah. Does Peter Wright make at least a Prem final and UK Open winner dark horse prediction? Does Peter Wright make a final of the Premier League? Not for me. He only got 9 points last year. I just don't see where it's coming from at the moment.
Correct.
He makes a final. He makes a final. I don't think he wins one.
As for UK Open, it's ridiculously hard because of there's just no way to do it because of the draw.
An outsider I'm looking at already for in a couple of weeks, I think Josh Roth has a very, very good UK Open. I think we'll see him into the Sunday night. Very much draw dependent because you could have 3 or 4 absolutely brutal draws. But Josh Roth is certainly a name I think will go deep. Sorry, Josh.
Avoid.
Pass.
Wessel Nyman, I think, will have a good run at the UK Open.
No comment.
One name, Jack. One name.
Me. I'm going to have a great weekend at the UK Open. Does that count?
Nope.
No.
Ross Smith. Yeah, weren't expecting that curveball, were you?
Andy Barton's start. Yeah, absolutely. Andy Barton's is superb.
Yeah. Trying to think if I can think of any of the qualifiers that will do bits. As long as Sykes qualified, have I made that up?
I think you've made it up.
I know Lonsdale has, Kevin Burness has, Gates has.
Bob asks, will MBG be able to defend all his ranking money this year? A lot of it.
I didn't know there was that much.
There's a lot of it.
I knew it was a bigger percentage. I didn't know it was that big of a percentage.
Yeah. Did he won the match play, the Grand Prix, and the Players?
It's over 2/3 of his money.
Yeah. Reckon Lewis will play at the UK Open? Not for me.
No, but you can see him in the man on the green.
That's still a weird one, isn't it?
In on the dream, but close enough, Dob.
Yeah, that thing. Who cares?
That's like us calling it Area 57.
Yeah. Same thing. If you want to know, do we see Adrian Lewis again this year? Just consider the fact that he didn't play a World Championship qualifier and he's not playing in the UK Open that he's already qualified for or has entry to as a right as a tour card holder.
Yeah.
But we'll be there pumping out stories pre-session to you via an exhibition stand. Yes.
Does Vincent keep his card at the end of the year? I'm saying yes, regardless, because I'm not annoying Vincent.
Because he will murder you.
Vincent can do whatever he wants. There was signs on a serious note. There was signs today. Look, he played some better stuff today.
That's all right. Just got to back it up, ain't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Will MVG will win more than one major this year? Yeah, I think he'll win 2. I'll mention it to him, Chris. I'll add it to my list of things to say to him.
I was just looking at how old Vincent is. I wasn't sure if
49.
He was.
Do not worry, I have looked.
he's on Gob's almost there list.
Correct.
48.
I'm sure it's at 49. Oh, well, close enough.
49 in December.
Bob, I'm not sure if Bo's going to play in next weekend. The reply wasn't that she's going to play in a couple. If you guys had the chance to sponsor one player, who would you? Gary Anderson.
It depends what route you're going in. Right now, it'd be Lou Littler.
Yeah, and it would say Boohoo Gob instead of Boohoo Man.
If I was a company and we are using Lou Littler, the other person I'd go down the route of would probably be Stephen Bunting, because the amount that's involved on socials would be very good for your business. And you could definitely get him involved in some QWERTY promotional videos, similar to what probably Paddy Power would say uses videos. Bunting would definitely be a good player to look at.
As well, massive shout out to Chris Murphy that when he was commentating on Phil Taylor's game, he got the line in, didn't he? It's ever so strange. He got the line in. If the UK Open was to change venue again, where would you like it moved to? And back to Bolton. Back to Bolton. All in one room.
Yes, Barzy.
That was the UK Open buzz. All in one room, that you did cheers all over the place, that you knew something was going on.
Without doubt.
Gob's not having it, is he?
Butlin Skegness. It's closer to me. It's just as awkward to drive to, though.
No.
Yeah, he did call me an expert. Don't ask me why, but I'll take it.
We also don't know why, but
must have been the car wash next door. Just got in his head.
Yeah, the Online Darts logo was on Thornton's shirt.
You get about, don't worry. Not like that.
Cheers, Adam. I enjoyed doing it. It was good.
Hang on, we can't have a one-room setup because it feels like an open tournament for the UK Open, and then Barzy not have open qualifiers like he said the other week because the ADC are going to manage it. You can't have both. You can't have one, not the other.
You can.
No. It's not an open then anymore. Not to start you off again, but
do whatever I
you're
want.
an idiot of the week, and I want to make sure everyone knows you're an idiot of the week.
Will the Masters be back in 25?
Yeah.
What
Was
what
it
Masters?
PDC?
We got PDC, WDF, all the seniors. 2 of them, yes. 1 of them, no.
All 3, yes.
Well, don't get optimistic about it. We're getting an announcement, Lee.
I was going to say, do you know something that we don't? Is there an announcement pending?
There was a question asked in the chat room, and I just answered it.
Every week now, are we getting an announcement?
Say that then. Sorry, the battery must be down on these. What was that?
You're getting old, mate. Thought that was the big we worked with all weekend, but steady on. You are considerably older than me, though, so yeah. Maybe your hearing is good.
What?
Haha.
Right, before we go, you two and chat room, what song should Gezi actually pick and stick to?
Barbie girl.
Why does he have to stick to one?
Yeah, Damon Hatter doesn't stick to one, and that's worked out, and we all love that idea.
He has recently.
Sarcasm, Philip.
Can't think what I'd go for.
Cold as Ice by Foreigner is a belter. Raw by Katy Perry is just pathetic. It's like the least intimidating song in the world. Honestly, it's like telling your 4-year-old niece to pretend to be a tiger, isn't it? Like it's just not going to frighten anybody.
Hearts on Fire from Rocky.
His nickname's the Iceman, and you want something to do with being on fire.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you very, very much for your support this evening. It's been a bit of all over the show. We're not gonna lie, all 3 of us are absolutely shattered. It's been a long couple of days, but thank you for your support as always. Pro Tour stream returns tomorrow. Gob is starting off, and I will be joining him after the Super Series. But thank you very much. This will be available as audio only in the morning as well. So if you have the chance, give us a follow on all podcast providers. Anything to add, gents, before we roll out?
Yeah, I got one more. Just get Kasabi on fire for Gerwen Price's name. Why not? Song. Yeah, we'll bang it out.
I was another old school with fire, and I really like my fire. A bit of Lulu and say that.
Watch you.
Everyone, thank you very much. I'm in Phill Bars, Jack Garwood, Lee Boyce, and we will see you all next week for the live lounge and the Pro Tour tomorrow. See you all very, very soon. Bye.